So, welcome to the Salem Mason Happy Home. And it truly is a happy home, even though most of what I rant about is bitching and complaining and, based on absolutely no fact whatsoever. It's just my perception of everything around me, right? Oh, the life of a shut in. Anyway, I've been watching and listening to these Senate hearings in Texas about the redistricting. And I got to thinking about something. The Dems, they should just let the redistricting happen, because if it happens and they lose their seats and they lose their votes and nobody wants to see them ever again, they will have the redistricting to blame now, instead of the American people who voted the way that, that got the administrations that we have today and their governor and so on. I mean, really, instead of blaming everybody else, they can blame redistricting. There'll be a whole new spin on their gross and criminal level negligence that they have put upon their constituents and the American people. Yeah, I think they should just let it go. I mean, it would benefit them, because they've refused to look inward and see the terrible things that they've done, accept what they have done, and do better. Instead of doing that, they keep throwing decoys out there and distractions out there, like those clay pigeons, boom, look, squirrel. It's like, I just watched this bozo go on for half an hour about Dr. Martin Luther King and Jim Crow. And he gave us all a history lesson of everything verbatim that happened in the 50s and the 60s in the Deep South. I don't even know if any of it actually happened in his state. But I am so tired of people invoking Dr. Martin Luther King and using him as a weapon. Dr. Martin Luther King was one of the most amazing, accomplished human beings that ever lived. One of the most selfless human beings that ever lived. But he did live and died in 1968. This is 2025. Stop invoking his spirit, because what you don't understand is that when you keep calling on him and invoking him, he's got to come from wherever he's coming from in heaven, and he's got to deal with that invocation. You know what I'm saying? So let him rest in peace and stop wielding him like a sword. He's done his time. He suffered great hardship. We all know what he did. We don't need a history lesson. We need you to get off your ass. Well, resign, because obviously you're as dumb as a box of dirt. Or find another excuse. Ergo, the redistricting. And when I'm listening to what they're saying, it sounds like they're actually, trying to make it fair. But, what do I know? I'm not a math whiz or anything like that. Personally, I think redistricting is an appalling and racial practice that needs to be stopped. I think that it divides people racially. It enforces communities that are predominantly of color to vote and have to tolerate senators and congressmen and stuff that are only Democrat. It's just really, I don't know. It sounds pretty racist to me. And for all of these alleged anti-racists, they sure are racist. Did you notice that? I mean, my God. And what they don't understand is that they're not victims. Just because you were born a color doesn't make you a victim. Just because you were born a gender doesn't make you a victim. You're a victim by choice. Even if a terrible crime befalls you and you survive. If you don't, you're a victim. If you do, you have a choice to continue the victimology of life, or you can choose to be a survivor. They need to stop invoking the 1950s because they keep disparaging the 1950s and disparaging people from the 1950s. But then they're always invoking Dr. King, who was from the 1950s and 60s, and they keep invoking Rosa Parks and all of these individuals that they've done their time. They made their mark. Let them rest. And stop using them as an excuse and a diversion from looking at the reality, which is you are grossly negligent. You have no business making decisions for a state full of people, regardless of their color or gender. And until next time, do good and be good.